Good morning, gentlemen. We are holding on the 85th segment of Think Before You Speak series, the laws of Shemirat, Halashon, and clarity. These halachot should be Lilu Nishmat, the great Chafetz Chaim Zechet Tzadik Lebracha, Lilu Nishmat, Reb Chaim Kanievsky Zechet Tzadik Lebracha, Lilu Nishmat, Reb Zechariah Wallerstein Zechet Tzadik Lebracha. Also, Lilu Nishmat Luza Liza Bat Henriette and our children that passed with her in the fire, Ruach Hashem Tenichena Megan Eden. These halachot should be a great shmira and hatzlacha for our bnei chabura, and these halachot specifically should be a great shmira le'elyoina, hatzlacha gedola, siyata dishmaya, v'chaim davido ben chayesar. The name of today's halacha is the jealous neighbor. Now we're talking about the laws of rechilut, which again is clarified as one person telling his friend something about someone else that they either said or did that will cause the listener to start hating the person that he's being told about. So now, if we run to a specific story, let's go with the concept of we got a neighbor coming out of his apartment in an apartment building, and his friend walks up to him and says, "Hey, did you see today that the other neighbor, let's call him Reuven, was out in the backyard with the city inspectors, and he was pointing out to him all the different garbage that's on the floor from the play group that your wife runs in the building." Now, you know this guy wanted to close down your wife's play group for the longest time. You know that he was always constantly complaining about noise, and he was constantly complaining about whatever litter and garbage that might have been left over, wrappers of candies from the kids in the backyard, in the back of the apartment building. But now it's a whole new story. He actually acted on the threat, and he brought down the city inspectors to show him that there's a play group that's being run in the building, and take a look at the mess that it created on the backyard of the apartment building, and the noise, and so on and so forth. So your neighbor turns to you and says to you, "Look, I saw him today with the inspectors showing him all the litter in the backyard and showing him the noise that's coming out of your apartment. He literally is here to close down your wife's playgroup." Are you allowed to listen and believe this information? It's clear, at first glance, it looks like rechilut, but he's telling this to you l'to'elet because he knows that if he doesn't tell you to protect yourself, you're going to lose your livelihood. Your playgroup is going to be closed down. Now, he's not looking to stir trouble between people. You can see that the guy is genuine, and he's telling this to you because you need to know to protect yourself. So is he allowed to tell you what he told you, what he saw? Are you allowed to believe what he told you, that the neighbor was there that day with the city inspectors looking through the different problems that the guy was claiming your wife's playgroup is creating in the building? Are you allowed to believe it? Is he allowed to say it? Are you allowed to act upon it? So here the halacha is very interesting. This guy clearly told it to you to save you from a tremendous financial loss. Therefore, he's allowed to tell it to you. You're allowed to believe it because if this guy's a straight shooter and he saw the guy with the city inspectors in your building, how are you going to give him the benefit of the doubt? Maybe he brought the city inspectors down to what? Take a look at the fire exits of the building? So there is reason to believe. Nonetheless, you can suspect and believe to the extent of protecting your wife's business by being able to either approach the guy, by being able to approach the city and trying to clear up whatever mess this guy did with the inspectors against your wife's playgroup. That you're allowed to do. Now, according to this, even if somebody is talking Masiach lefi tumo, that means that he's speaking innocently, he's not looking to cause trouble. There's no reason he should say what he's about to say, and therefore there'll be a reason to believe him. That's not enough to believe him when it comes to rechilut. If he's telling you something about someone else that affects you to hurt you, that's not enough to believe him. It has to be that he said it, Masiach lefi tumo, innocently, not looking to cause trouble, and it's something that he's looking to save you from a great financial loss, like in this case, the guy's bringing down inspectors to close your wife's playgroup, and you try to be dalekav zechut, you just don't see a way to. Still, after all that, you're able to believe enough to suspect that it might be true and go take action to protect yourself and your wife's playgroup. Okay, it's interesting that you'd want to ask yourself, if this guy did the playgroup legally, and he went and he asked a rabbi, is he allowed to do the playgroup even though there might be noise and it might bother other people in the building? And he got a psak that told him, yes, you can do the playgroup, just be careful with X, Y, and Z. So he's not in a halachic situation that he's hurting other people. It seems that this neighbor is just jealous of the parnasah that this guy is making. And there are people out there that sometimes cannot fagin another person making a parnasah. Nonetheless, he did the playgroup permittedly, halachically, legally. Still, he's allowed to believe to the extent to protect himself. We should find neighbors that it's not easy, that will be able to be mephias our neighbors. We should find ways to be able to, in a certain way, pacify the neighbors, to try to work out lefnim mishurat adin, that you'll be able to run businesses in those type of ways that won't be able to upset other people. It's not easy, but sometimes the extra mile can save us a lot of headache down the road. Thank you for listening.